everybody.
The title is Addison's idea. I just want to throw that out there.
The title is my idea, but you were like, that's playful, that's
It is.
fun.
I mean, pooping's playful, right? We have all kinds of poop. We have constipation, we have diarrhea. Sometimes it might get slimy depending on how sick you are.
You went there.
It's all different colors, how it floats, how it drops, breakdown of it, what actually is contained in it. I mean, like poop, there's a whole science behind poop. There's a doctor that has like made his whole business. He's known as the poop doctor.
Very interesting. Very interesting. So we're not going to be breaking down poop today. That's not the topic of the day. So last night we were together having just a conversation, and
did you poop while we were together? I mean, I need to know this.
I did not poop when we were together. Did not poop. There was no pooping.
Girls' night without pooping. What's gonna happen now?
But I was sharing anyway. I was sharing. We somehow, I forget how, but we got on the conversation of pooping with significant partners and just with other people in general, because it's freaking awkward. And some people find it not a thing, like not like they're like, okay, like I'm gonna poop, like it's not a big deal.
One of my daughters is that way. She's like, I'm not ever gonna forget her words now. She's like, well, but when I poop, it's so quiet and just comes out so easily, like it doesn't smell. So, he doesn't even hear me. So
her
she
shit
can
doesn't
have
stink.
A whole conversation while pooping with her man right in front of her, brushing his teeth or something. And
I can't do
it.
Like, I can't do it. I'm out.
And my other daughter is like a F no to it.
Yeah.
She's like, nope, that's an intimacy line. That is like, that's not happening. We don't do that. And I mean, like, I'm not gonna back myself up if I'm traveling with somebody or hanging out for a few days and avoiding it. I'm not going to do that. I will go ahead. But much like Sam said, like she was like, yeah, one time I went to the lobby to go to the bathroom because they had rented a room, I guess, and she couldn't go to she couldn't poop with her guy of 6 or 7 years right there, and they've had a kid together and all this kind of stuff. So she excused herself to the lobby, like.
And I was with my man this weekend, and there was a moment where I really have to use the bathroom, and so I turned on music, hoping to and the way the stall in the hotel room was is it didn't have a top to it, and so you could hear everything going on, and I'm like. I don't
extra
really
air combustion in the toilet. You get a little bit it's just goes out.
Well, it wasn't even it really not the smell wasn't the issue, but my shit doesn't stink. No.
Okay, you and Becca.
I'm joking. It was more about the noise, and I'm I don't really want to hear you poop either. That's the thing. It's it happens. Everybody poops. We know this. And I promise this whole conversation is not going to just be on pooping. But it really was this moment of I had an issue with it, and it was this is too intimate. This is something that is just for me. This is for me to experience.
It's not a community activity.
It's not a community activity. I'm not feeling this is bringing me closer to my partner. I'm feeling I want to have a moment to myself to take a shit. And I think that's really what it comes down to. And then there's we travel together all the time. And sometimes it's okay, girl, I'm going to go back to the room. I'll meet you down there.
We're pretty point blank promises.
Yeah. I go to the bathroom and you're going to leave. You're going to leave. I'm okay.
Yeah.
But it comes down to a state of intimacy, and some people are that's not an intimacy for them, but others, that is a huge intimacy, something that is a boundary, something that is meant to be kept for ourselves. And I think we think in relationships of all kinds that once you get to a level, you should be fully open. You should not have anything to yourself. You should
I'm just going to say that right there.
Okay.
When we knock down all the walls, all the barriers, we no longer cease to have any magic to ourselves. There's no mystery left. Without the mystery, we have a zero desire for our partners.
Our relationships
become crap, yes, because it becomes where we no longer see our partner as a sexy partner. We just don't have those desires there, because now they're kind of like the piece of furniture. We know every aspect of them, and then we start to take them for granted in different ways. And it really is not about pooping or not pooping, because that's a
silly, playful example.
So, I just want to clear that we're not hitting, you should not poop around your partner, because that's an intimacy that you should keep yourself. It doesn't matter, to each their own,
Really, so you're giving people permission.
I'm giving everybody permission to poop in front of their partner if that is
a thing.
Their thing. They're comfortable with it. Like my daughter, she's comfortable with it. She's like, whatever, I guess they have conversations while she's, relieving herself like that. Well, fine, great, good for them. But there's other intimacies, and I think that what we're both trying to put out here is that there is this space of self-intimacy.
Yes.
And that we hold intimacy with the self, and there's things that we just don't share, different aspects of self that we shouldn't have to share. There should never be an expectation to reveal every little nook and cranny of the self, because number one, it's impossible to do. There's we're always learning, we're always expanding, we're always growing, we're always changing. So I can't reveal to you every aspect of myself that has changed in the last, since I saw you last night,
No.
For dinner. I can't reveal that to you as because I actually had, we're both different people this morning than what we were last night. And every relationship is like that. So it's ridiculous to think that, no, you should consistently be just revealing and thinking that that's going to bring together. It's actually an overshare. Yeah. And in that overshare, we start to lose respect for our partners in truth.
Yeah, and I worked with couples that are like, well, I want to read her journal. And I'm like, no, that is hers.
No.
That is hers.
No.
That is
whoever did that with her, no.
I'm like, that is a
to the couple she worked with.
Yeah, but he's like, well, and she's like, I don't have any secrets, but that's mine. Those are my private thoughts. Absolutely. It's not that I'm keeping secrets. And he's like, well, if you're not keeping secrets, you shouldn't have any reason not to show me. And there are times when we're allowed to keep things, our thoughts,
to ourselves. There's a misconception that you have to reveal every aspect and that there should be no boundaries for our partners, that they should be able to go in and out of us in every which way, mentally, emotionally, within our own thinking processes, and of course physically too, that we're supposed to completely lay down and have no boundary with our partner if we have nothing to hide. And it's not the term you have something to hide just in itself states that there is some malicious
trust.
There's the other person is being malicious in some way and holding back and thinking of doing something that they should not be doing. So it is a mistrust with the person when they are saying that. Well, if you don't have anything to hide, you should just reveal it all. Let me look through everything. Let me read everything. Tell me everything. They're basically saying, I have some broken spots from my past because my trust got crossed over, and I'm just going to assume that I can't trust you either.
And you can't have boundaries, and you can't
have boundaries. If you love me, if you have nothing to hide, then you should let me just bulldoze through anything that I want, so that I feel safe, so that I feel comfortable, so that I feel secure, and to you. Yeah. On all of that.
Yeah, and it can, even more than, and yes, you're freaking spot on that. But the fact is, you don't want to know everything that goes through your partner's head.
No, there's no mystery.
There's no mystery. That is not fun. That's not playful.
And the reality is that we also go up and down in our emotions, men and women alike.
Yeah.
And I can tell you, I was in a long-term relationship with somebody who on the front side felt the need to share everything. All of his dirty laundry especially, had to get it all out there. What he perceived as dirty laundry, he threw it all out there. And over the course of the relationship, all of this dirty laundry throwing that he did up on himself caused me to not respect him. I actually looked at him as weak and needy and irrational. And, I was just I was perplexed at why he would do or feel some of the things. So I started to question him which just made me just like, instead, like we don't need any help to critique ourselves or our partners. Like, we're good human beings at that, right? Like, we're really, really good.
We got that
we're,
one down.
We're judgmental. We are. There's nobody that's non-judgmental. So if we're so damn good at judging ourselves and our closest people, our partners, we're already critiquing them. Now, why, it's like, why should we throw up all that stuff to our partner? Unless, I know that both of you have asked have asked questions to partners on the front side of like, tell me something about yourself that you really don't want.
You don't want me to know.
Like, what's something that you're really like hesitant to tell me about, like that early on.
And that's a beautiful vulnerability share, though.
But
That's not saying
tell me
everything.
Tell me something that you really are proud of yourself for, that
Your
you
brag.
like really like. What's your brag? And we probably do that because we did that with everybody in our lives. But
tell me about the bad pieces.
Right.
Like, I just asked my partner, like,
shows.
tell me something. Tell me the person I'm not seeing right now, the negative piece of this, especially at the beginning of a relationship. But that doesn't mean that you have to show every single piece of.
No, you don't need to like rehash it and be like, well, here's my reason for this and here's my reason for that. And you can just be like, okay, I'm going to admit I'm a little bit of a control freak. Like, yeah, I have some control issues. I have some OCD issues. Like, I tend to, when I'm stressed out, lean on the negative side of things a lot, and I have a tough time picturing the glass.
I'm really emotional. I
get really emotional. Right? Blah blah blah. Like that. Here's what my emotions have looked like in the past. You know? Like that, but not to go into that cycle down. And that's what I think that a lot of people think that intimacy is about, is to really like dredge up all this stuff and lay it all out and have nothing that is unknown between the two. And there's sacredness, and that's that intimacy that we have to hold with ourselves, which when we do that, it's between us and God. So we're keeping out our primary relationship, that there is something there. And then the next piece is that there is that piece between us and a significant other, right? And then we have intimacies with our friends, we have intimacies with our children, with our siblings, with our parents, with colleagues. And we don't need to come back to our significant other and say, hey, here's all the intimacies from the day.
No, and that's actually where I was just going, is like, the fact is, like, I have like past lovers that my current lover does not get to know all the intimacies. Like, yes, we can talk and it can be like, yes, I had this experience, yes, I had this experience, this was a moment I had, but there are those intimacies. There are intimacies that I have with you as one of my best friends that I'm like, no, like him or her or my other friend doesn't get to know, because that is sacred to that relationship. And when we have to be a fully open book of like, I have no boundaries, you get to know everything, then nothing is sacred. Then nothing ever is important. Nothing in your relationship will ever be sacred either, because it's like, oh, well, she's got to be an open book, so nothing can be just a moment. So whether it's pooping or anything else, it really comes down to having that mystery and keeping that mystery in a relationship. I don't care if you've been married for 50 years. Guess what? There's still mystery. You are both still living different lives. You are different people.
I tell all my couples clients, I try to teach them, like to enter the relationship with, with this whole newness each day. Like, it's a fresh relationship. And to treat your partner as such. And then to actually, like if they're married or they have certain agreements or something, and to not accept the agreements of 20 years prior for their agreements of today, but to actually go in and relearn their partners. Because they're two people that started out here and then they've evolved through the course of time together, but individually as well. So life has brought them to this new point, new way of thinking, new way of feeling, all this kind of stuff. And as long as we're making assumptions as to, I know exactly where my partner's at, that's where all the trouble comes in. Because when we start to assume, now we're just taking everything, for granted for the most part. And we're just like, oh yeah, I know what they want for their, I know that. And the other person maybe doesn't have great boundaries, so just swallows it and takes it, but is actually not happy. Just not, really just going, oh man, like I really would have liked that, or I really wanted that change, I really wanted to discuss about whatever. And it's really important to not assume, but to always have those conversations, readdress commitments, agreements in a relationship as though it is new.
And set those boundaries, because there's times when somebody asks something and you're like, they're not necessarily crossing a boundary, but you're like, that is a boundary of mine. It's a question, and it's not like they're not pushing, they're asking a question, and that is then your responsibility. So the boundary, but that's an intimacy right now. Like, actually, relationship right here, like last night, you were talking about some goals, and I asked her, I went, well, what are these new goals? And then I went, oh wait, she might want to keep some of those to herself. And I went, if you're okay sharing.
Right.
Like, if you're okay sharing, because there are things that we do get to keep for ourselves, whether we want to process them out, whether there's something we're manifesting and we're just not there at sharing, whether we just don't want to, it's like, no, like, this gets to just be mine. This just gets to be mine, and nobody else gets to know this and share this. But it's not wrong in the asking, but it is wrong in the assumption of, well, why wouldn't you tell me? Why won't, that kind of thing.
When I was in my 20s, my mom, I lived up in Seattle, and she lived in North State, California, and she would call me. And even when she moved up to Seattle to be closer to me, and she lived on one side of Lake Washington, and I lived on the other, and she would call me faithfully and say, oh my God, you gotta watch this show. You have to watch this show. And I was like, okay, sure. And she's like, no, you don't understand. You have to watch this show. And so then she would reprocess everything that she had watched. So she would take an hour show and talk to me for 2 hours about the show, and then insist that I watch the show so that I could understand and have the experience, because she needed to share with me all of her personal experiences internally, or what she learned, or everything about the show. She couldn't hold it. And then anytime she took a trip, she would do the same thing. Or if she went and visited a friend, and went on a hike to, like Mount Olympia or something, she would go and she hunted mushrooms. She did all this really cool stuff. She was all around Vashon. And then she'd come back and she would have to share in massive detail every single thing. And I would always make the joke to her. I was like, Mom, thanks for calling me to let me know that you wiped your butt with 3 pieces of toilet paper today. I really this is information I really need to know. Thank you. I'm like, can you not have a little bit of sacredness with yourself? With your life experiences? You don't have to
share everything.
Yeah, just completely let me have everything. I don't need it. I don't want it. I don't care to have it at that level. This is your experience. And we don't give value to our life experience unless it is witnessed by another. And that, it really is that, maybe that's the topic of the week. Validations. I've been on this kick for a week or 10 days already, where it's so hardcore. Can't we look at relationship for its validation purposes, and that, okay, now I'm an okay human, I'm a good being, I'm a this, I'm a that, I'm doing right, oh, I'm on the right path, I have the right job, I live in the right house, or you like my hair, you like this, you like that. We go in every which way around our body, our actions, our work, the money that we're making, the relationships that we choose, everything, and we reach out for validation that it's okay that we've made this decision from another being. And if they give us a thumbs up, we're like,
if they give us a thumbs down,
and if they're like, well, I would have done it a little bit different, we go, well, how would you have done that so that, maybe I should reconsider this, and maybe I should do this, and instantaneously we drop what we want and how it was given to us because of another person's way of thinking, being, beliefs, where they're at, their vibration, everything. So we're not really strong in who we are.
And they couldn't see what you saw.
Right. And they were just stating their opinion of well, I would have done it differently. It's something as simple as that. I would have done it differently. Well, of course you would have done it differently. You're a different person. Right? Yeah, you're a different person. So you would have done it differently. Your life experience is different than my life experience. So we should expect a little bit different results here. Right? So that should be an expectation of the results being different, not, oh, maybe I should try to change everything that I'm doing because you would do it differently.
Because I would do it differently.
Yeah, good.
And you would do it differently.
Fuck yeah. Yeah. But I mean, like, that's the biggest thing is that we're looking for, you know, like, coming back to poop, what if you're with somebody who says, well, you don't really trust me, you don't really love me if you can't poop in front of me?
Bye-bye.
I mean, like, because if you don't feel safe to poop in front of me, then what does that say about our relationship? Like, you must not feel safe in all the other areas of our relationship either. I mean, like, this is a small thing, and you should, like, be comfortable to just do that. Like, it really should just make, like, we do everything. Like, I mean, if it's your man, you'd be like, I've been down there, I've been doing this, I've done that, like, I've been up.
Doesn't make sense sometimes.
And why aren't you comfortable? Like, you know, everybody poops, everybody passes gas. Like, this is normal human functions. Like, that's, like, it's not a big deal.
But the fact is, it's a big deal to that person.
Right.
It's a big deal to that person. And again, we're going to, like, poop.
Because
but
it's such
a little funny
thing.
and kind of funny, because it's like when we polled people last night, because there's always like a crowd.
Yeah.
You know, there were such different responses. Like, oh, I don't care, or no, I care about talking about that, but like I don't care about talking about my period. Like, I can do this, but I can't do that. And if it's this way, then it's okay. But if everybody had their own comfort level, and it is also hearing where other people's intimacies are, because they're probably not where yours are.
Exactly.
So if my intimacy is with pooping, that's great, but maybe another person is like, I don't want you watching me brush my teeth. It's weird.
Yeah. You know, spit in the sink in front of
somebody. Like, I don't want to spit in the sink. It's hearing your partner's intimacies and
respecting
them. And then also, on the other end of this, also making sure you do open your walls a little bit. And you, like, there's the opposite side of this where you're so closed off and everything's an intimacy and you're not willing to share. And so I don't want to discount that either. There is this space of, like,
right.
Yeah, like there are times when you go, okay, I'm going to loosen this a little bit. I'm going to lean in here a little bit. I'm going to share some more intimacies. But at the end of the day, we do not owe anybody, our partner, our friends, our family, we do not owe anybody our whole self. We don't owe them our thoughts. We don't owe them all our beliefs. If we want to keep something private, we're allowed to keep stuff private. Even in, like, the social media world right now, I've had lots of people going like, why haven't you written anything about COVID? Why aren't you putting out your political opinion on this or this opinion? I'm like, because that gets to be my opinion and my thought, and if I don't want to share it, I don't have to share it publicly. So our followers we don't owe our followers as coaches, as people who as people on the internet, we don't owe them all our intimacies. I have people all the time, actually, I get hit all the time, like, why aren't you posting pictures of the guys you're dating? I'm like, because that gets to be my intimacy until I release that intimacy. That's actually when I get hit with all the time. Like, why won't you post pictures of your man? I'm like, because I'm protecting him, I'm protecting me. That is our intimacy, that is our connection, and I don't owe you.
Yeah, no. You don't owe anybody any explanation for your choices, your actions, who you're dating or not.
Yeah.
You know, I mean, like, that's just like, I mean, yeah, there is this whole thing. I know I have that come to me too, where I get different people that just want to know every little aspect. And I'm like, I'm not going to sit here for the next 42 years of my life to tell you about the last 42 years of my life. Like, I'm just not doing it. Not to mention, like, there's a lot of it that I don't remember. You know, like, I'm sorry, I don't remember every single second of you know, since birth till now. Like, I don't remember that. And maybe I've got some you know, memory issues. I don't know. Maybe everybody else.
I don't know. Everybody else remembers being 2, and
I have a few memories from being 2, and I have memories way down there. But yeah, I mean, like, they're memories, and there's certain, like, even childhood memories and stuff. I'm like, I don't need to share this with anybody. Like, that's my childhood memory. Unless it like pops up because I have that like, you know, weird whatever. If spirit tells me to share it, then I'm sharing it. And if you're asking me, like pressuring me to share something, I'm probably going to retreat and be like, well, dude, I'm not talking to you about anything now. Like, you're going to get the reverse from me. I'm not going to give it to you because of the pressure of like, it's owed. I'm like, I don't owe you. I don't owe you anything. And we do. We tend to feel like we owe explanations and reasons and information, and that we should just let our boundaries be obsolete. Like, and I know both of us have heard this numerous times. We get people that come in and they say very proudly, I have
no boundaries.
Like, this is like what our life mission is, to eliminate all of our boundaries. And it's flip. We're actually here to learn healthy boundaries. And healthy boundaries is different for each and every individual.
Yes.
That's what it is, you know, like, so not to have no boundaries. No boundaries never. A no boundaries.
It does not work.
No boundaries means I'm a doormat for all of the world. So please come stomp on me.
Mm-hmm.
And that's it. And I don't care that I don't love myself. I don't value myself. I don't think that I have any worth for anything. And I just, you know, like, here, just stomp away because I have no boundaries. And that's what we're trying to achieve, is to destroy ourselves by becoming a doormat.
Yeah, we're meant to have good, fluid boundaries that are not rigid, but are also not non-existent. Yeah. To protect ourselves, to grow ourselves. There's growth in boundaries. There's so much growth in boundaries.
And boundaries are varied depending on who you're with, too. Just like intimacies vary. Vulnerability varies. Trust varies. You know, our feeling of being able to be authentic or not with somebody varies with who we're with, by the energy that is brought into that relationship. Some people, you're just like, hey, and it's just like, you drop everything. And other people, you feel extremely guarded. Those are those energetic boundaries.
And then even in one relationship, that changes.
Oh, constantly.
Depending on what's going on in you, what's going on in that other person, and just where you guys are in the transition of that relationship. Because every relationship changes. But
boundaries definitely, I mean, like, they have to change. Again, we want everything to, once in place, to remain the same and to never change. We want the agreements to remain the same. We want the boundaries to remain the same. We want the relationship to remain the same. Yet we want our partner and ourselves to be happy and to grow together. Well, to grow together means that two individuals have to evolve next to each other, and that things are going to change. Evolution does not happen without change.
And that's going to be uncomfortable.
Just a little.
It's a little bit uncomfortable.
It's a little uncomfortable.
But in truth, like, all of these things that we've talked about kill the magic. If we don't hold boundaries, you kill the magic. If you don't hold intimacies within self and within the relationship, you kill the magic. So, because in truth, like, if I thought that I was with a partner and every single thing got shared, guess what? I'm not going to want to share. Because the magic of that relationship, the magic of just being like, no, this is ours, is gone. Is gone. And so it really is to look at, where are you expecting your partner to be an open book completely? And where are you potentially making yourself an open book and actually losing the turn on, losing the passion and the magic in that relationship? Because the magic comes when you're learning each other, and you're learning each other slowly. It's not a forced learning. It's a, oh, I didn't know that. We've known each other for 6-7 years, and oh, that's a story I've never heard. That's a moment that I've never heard about. That's, you know, oh, I'm going to respect you for needing to go, I'm going to go to the bathroom by myself, you have fun, I'm going to, you know, like, there's respect in that. There's respect and trust in going, like, I get it, like, that's important to you. I'm going to let you go have your moment. So, anyway, keep the magic.
Sacred time. That's what it is. It all comes down to keeping something sacred and allowing yourself to have those sacred moments, whatever that might look like, but that's actually healthy. That is being self-loving and loving to the relationship. It is respect and honor for a relationship and for self. So,
So thank you for listening to us talk about poop. We have a shit ton going on right now.
We do.
So we have a bunch of stuff going on together, and so I'll just announce those, and then you can do your little thing, your little spiel too. Yay. So we have on July 25th, we have oral intimacies, oral pleasures, and that is all about oral sex for both him and her. It's coupled or singles. It doesn't matter your gender. This is for everybody to learn to have better oral sex and actually make this some of the best part of your sexing with your partner. Then on August 1st, we have the Cock Connective. This is about connecting your two heads. You said this morning in your conscious coffee. I'm like, yes, it sums it up beautifully. Connecting the two heads. Connecting so you can have better sex, you can have a better relationship with yourself, and you can manifest. Where this is a men's only workshop. Women, you are not invited. The only women that will be there are the leads. We will be your beautiful women for the day. And then we have a female orgasm camp coming up that next weekend on the 8th. This workshop always sells out, and so don't wait. Don't wait.
It is co-ed.
It is co-ed.
It is singles and it is couples. Singles and it is couples. And I'm going to go. Okay. Thank you. So, and that's on August 8th. And then I personally have coming out Sex Magic, which is a workshop that is for singles, for couples, men, women alike. And it is really about manifesting and using our sexual energy to manifest our dreams and our desires. And then what I also have coming up is round 2 of Quantum Field Tantra, which is all on tantric integration work, learning about the quantum field, how it plays in our bodies and our sexing and our relating, and how we all can do this beautiful, beautiful little magic show. So you'll look for links for those underneath this video in the near future here.
And I have another tantric integration puja coming up. The topic is going to be see me. So being seen. And so you can look for that to come out. That will be happening, I believe, the end of July. And so just keep on a lookout on my events calendar at addisonbell.net
and kendallwilliams.com.
All right. Bye.
Bye.